Tiger Nation, JSU football has done its part. Let's do our part. Let's pick out homecoming in Southern. Let's go to jsutigers.com/tickets and let's purchase your tickets. 50,000 people, 2 weeks in a row. Homecoming, Southern. Go Tigers.
Tiger fans, welcome to episode 279 of the official Tiger Talk with the 1400 Club podcast, bringing you all the latest news, updates, and buzz surrounding your mighty JSU Tigers. I am the Corey C. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast to be notified of all future episodes. Apple Podcast and Spotify video users, rate and review the show. And everyone, go follow Tiger Talk with the 1400 Club on Facebook and Tiger Talk 1400 on Instagram and Twitter. It all helps the cause, which is the I love Jackson State University. Fellas, how you feel? How you feel?
What's going on, Corey? What's up, Zoe? What up, Tiger Nation? Feeling good, man. 6-0.
Feeling great, man. Still Ando. What's up, fellas? What's up, the I Love family?
No doubt. 48-8 did what we had to do. Coulda, shoulda, woulda been worse, but hey, we'll take it. A dominant performer for the most part. And I don't know what it is about the state of Florida, but that's 4 straight wins in the state of Florida, right? Jacksonville, we took care of business. You know what we do against FAMU. 3 of those wins came against FAMU, 2 in Miami, and another one in Tallahassee a couple years ago. So I know Coach Prime is loving taking his squad into Florida. Thoughts on the win, guys?
Well, I initially, man, I'm getting excited about the W. We're never going to complain about that. Just, wish we could have really tightened up everything and just had it look to appear to be more dominant than what we could have been. I really feel like we could have put 80 points on these boys. And the fact that we didn't do that is kind of a slight letdown. But outside of that, man, 48-8, we can't complain about that. So I'm good with it.
I feel fantastic about it. I mean, to Zoe's point, I tend to take somewhat of a different mindset about it. I mean, we came out and did what I wanted to see us do, and that's get off to a fast start. We dominated them, and then, what happens when you get a little comfortable lead, you start to get a little lax. I feel like we let off the gas a little bit. And shout out to Bethune-Cookman, though. I think they adjusted, and they showed a never quit mentality, and they wound up making things a little bit, I would say, they made us work for it towards the latter part of the game. So I was satisfied with the 48-8 win. We got what we needed to see going into homecoming against a somewhat what we think to be tough Campbell. So I'm happy with the outcome.
No doubt. Though we go back and forth on this, we talk about these fast starts. So I got to give you the floor, brother. Fast start. We scored at our first 3 possessions. Is that what you've been looking for? Is that what you wanted to see?
Yes, sir. And in the same fashion, too, we went methodically down the field. Like it was a hot knife through butter. I mean, we went straight down the field. There was no resistance. None. And we looked good on the first 3 possessions. I mean, honestly, after looking at those first 3 possessions, you really see him thinking like, man, look like we might get 21 points every quarter, Mm-hmm. And offense came in, did their point, what I'm saying? We did a little reverse this time, Corey. We started off fast and hit a little lull in the middle of the game. Yeah. So
yeah, fast start, man. I like I said, I'm happy with it. I mean, I asked Joe the same question. I said, well, if it would have been flipped, if we started slow and finished fast, would we have been okay with it? I think again, I just think that I'm always into the psychology of it. I think it's just by habit, we tend to, once we up big, we tend to start doing different things. And I think that's kind of what happened mixed with Bethune, like I said, making things a little tough for us. But The defense played outstanding. Gave up a tug in the second half, late in the second half, but overall we pretty much dominated, and I was happy with what we saw.
So let's talk about that second half. I want to get your point of view because, and this is not to take anything away from Bethune-Cookman, but you say they made some adjustments, which of course they did. They went in halftime and made some adjustments, but to me, I saw a team that was ready to go home. You know, this team has been displaced for 3 weeks due to the storm. Different cities. I hadn't been on campus in close to 3 weeks, and I think they saw it was time to go home. And I think after a couple of possessions, they knew without a shadow of a doubt who the better team was. And I want to say they kind of laid down a little bit. Again, I don't want to take anything from them, especially considering what they've gone through. But would you say it was more of them adjusting in terms of why we didn't have the second half that I put it in the second half? Or was it us seeing that they were laying down, knowing that we were the superior team and kind of playing down to the level of the competition and taking our foot off the gas?
Well, I don't even think that we just played down to the competition. I don't think we did that at all. But I do think that we got in our own way. I really feel like it was everything to do with us and not Bethune-Cookman. And you can see that because of the errors that we made. It wasn't a forced error. You know, we could even point to Groans, to Shedeur, both his interceptions. It wasn't because of pressure or anything that they did. It was solely bad decision and underthrown ball, a ball going directly to a defender. It wasn't under pressure when they made those throws. So it was all on us, man. Mental lapses that we had, and but again, another teachable moment for us to use to go into this, upcoming game for homecoming that we can rectify to get some things right.
I think you can apply that to Bethune maybe on offense, but I think their defense, honestly, after we scored those quick, usually you expect the team to lay down. From what I saw, their defense was hitting, man. I think 38 Special can attest to that. One of the things we talked about just going into the latter part of the game. Like I said, Zoe touched on the 2 interceptions. Really, like I said, wasn't much to do with them. But I'll point out one thing that Coach Prime said in the press conference. He said we play how we practice, right? And one of the things he noted was he put us in situational football, and we didn't do well at practice. So I think when he threw us in some situations where it was 4th down, we had a few goofy things happen, and then it's like once the goofy stuff get in the game, it's kind of hard to get it out of it. And then from there, it just kind of gradually grew legs a little bit. So I think maybe in those situations, if we punt when we were,
4th down,
maybe we take a delay of game and punt, and then maybe instead of going for it, we go for field goal, whatever. My point is, if we do that, I think we probably not talking about the letdown. I think we just kind of played to the fact that the defense was playing well and we can score on them. So when it didn't happen, it looked a little more clunky than probably what it should have been.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know Coach Prime didn't like those 2 interceptions that Shedeur threw. You could see him getting on Shedeur. Overall, not his best effort in terms of, especially overall production. 36-48. He threw a lot of balls. He had 272 yards. But again, he tied his personal record, 5 touchdowns. But let's just look at Shedeur's numbers roughly halfway through the season. How many games do we have this season on the schedule?
11 on the schedule.
11 plus we expect to play in the SWAC championship game, right?
Yeah, regular season plus SWAC championship celebration ball.
So it's fair to say we're halfway through the season, right? 6 games, 6-0.
Yep.
So let's look at his numbers: 1,998 yards. So let's say 2,000. So right there at that 4,000 yard mark that we all kind of predicted. 22 touchdowns. That's on pace for 44. So let's just assess Shedeur in the first half of the season. Heisman hopeful Shedeur Sanders.
Well, I mean, what's not to love? I mean, even in the game against Bethune-Cookman, with the attempts that he had, he still completed 75% of his passes. Mm-hmm. With 5 touchdowns, I mean, to complete 75% of your passes with that high number of attempts is astounding. And then again, he's on track to pretty much break every single season passing record that we have at Jackson State. You're talking about, getting over 4,000 yards, getting over 40 touchdowns, having the low numbers of interceptions. You're talking about setting a new record for completion percentage, QBR, and even his quarterback rating. Also, he's going to have the most attempts and the most completions. He's going to shatter the single season passing record. So amazed at what he can do. And fellas, here's news for you. he still hasn't gotten as good as he's going to get. It's a
Right.
sophomore.
Yeah, he. I would say, judging by his standard, I would think that maybe he's definitely exceeding maybe expectations. But this is what I'll say though. He got 4 interceptions that were just all. He should be a 0 interception.
Should be a 0, which is crazy
Good.
to say.
Corey, you and I were standing right there when he threw that interception versus Valley, and it was like, why? You know what I mean? And then the last three interceptions were just it just left his hand. It was over or short and over. And it's like it shouldn't have happened.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking about nitpicking. You're talking about 2,000 pass yards. Let me say this: Shador's stats right now is a great season. For most every quarterback in the SWAC right now. I know they might not like to hear that, but 2,000 passing yards, you're talking about, and nobody's gonna hit 70%. So I think the growth that we saw, he finished at 68% last year. So what you got to do is when we talk about measuring the halfway point of this season, the only thing we can really measure it against is what he did last season. So the growth is there, the maturation is there, and he's balling. He's balling out. And the Heisman talk, some people may not like it, but it's real because you know what? He's winning, and he's a major factor in why he's winning. First year offensive coordinator, he seems to have all the offseason work seems to have new toys, like they like to say, not calling anybody toys, but new weapons on offense, new offensive coordinator. And for him to go out there and do what he's doing, I think it's absolutely impressive. So I think he's he's sitting at around an A, maybe an A minus because of the interceptions. We can be if we want to be hard.
Yeah.
Yep. So let's go back to this defense. Ken, you mentioned it already, but man, impressive. I mean, that defense was swarming, man. Poor Jalen Jones. Jalen Jones had absolutely no time, man. Bethune-Cookman, 166 total yards, 39 on the ground, only 127 through the air. So, I mean, what did you see from a defensive standpoint? Was that our best showing defensively all season?
I would say no. The best showing that we saw was against FAMU, in my opinion, because we held them without a touchdown. This defense, we play a lot of people. We substitute a lot of players. So the depth and the rotation with Coach Thurman and Coach Weeks and Coach Hart is and then we started off, fellas, without Aubrey in the first half. So it allowed some of the depth to show itself. But 7 sacks, man. 7 sacks. 3 safeties.
NCAA record tied.
It's unbelievable to get 3 safeties. It's like it should have been a touchdown. I know we'll take the safety, but oh my goodness. I know John Huggins is kicking himself because he had it right there in him and it popped out.
Him to have 2 touchdowns would have been something, but nevertheless, 8 points on the season.
Yeah, man. So honestly, it really comes down. I do feel like there was still some opportunities that we kind of left out there. We did give up a touchdown, but I'm not going to be too critical. We're leading the nation. We're leading the SWAC now in sacks. We've only given up, Corey and Zoe, 57 total points in 6 games. You do the math on that, but we still batting single digits when it comes to points allowed. So I love it, man. We finished the season last season, I want to say around 14 before going into the Celebration Bowl. I forget what that was. I don't remember that game because I kind of erased it out of my brain. But man, this defense is the real deal, man. So I like our chance against anybody because of the amount of depth, the speed that we play, and the constant changing in schemes and style and that amoeba front. And it's creating some problems for opposing teams. So love what I'm seeing, but a very, very dominant defense.
Can you mention the 57 points we've given up on the season? That's averaging out to 9.5 a game. So average score 44 to 9.5.
Yeah, this defense has been just outstanding. I mean, again, the numbers and 2 things. We even in the game against Bethune-Cookman, we hit our average because we're averaging 48 points and we're giving up 9. We hit our average. We gave up 8.
That's just basically an average game for us.
Yeah, we hit our average. But also the other thing too is that again, I have to bring it back that all summer long into the season we told everybody, hey, this defense will be better than what last year's season was. And all people could think about is the loss of James Houston. And we're not going to replace him with one player. We're going to replace him with 10 other players.
Play again, Gremlins.
Yeah, and again, the points per game. I mean, the sacks, just the disruption. And here's another stat that we really got to pay attention to. We've injured the starting quarterback in every single game we played this season. We faced 2 quarterbacks in every single game this season. That's what this defense is doing. We're 6 for 6 right now and facing 2 quarterbacks in every game. I can go on record and tell you that's never ever happened in Jackson State history before.
One of the things I love about our defense, I just want to reiterate the depth. I mean, you don't have many guys out there getting tired because of the amount of depth you have on the D-line, linebackers, as well as DBs. I'm ecstatic to see 12 come back. I know he didn't get a chance to get any reps in this game, but just imagine just the injuries. We've gotten healthy, fellas. We got through this 6-0. We've dominated, and now we're getting even more healthy on defense. So it's only up from here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Still not completely healthy because the guy that I'm waiting to see is True Thompson. And we know what what he's going to bring to the table, just what he was able to do in practice when he was healthy, a guy who couldn't be blocked. Right. So you're talking about a defense getting stronger. Great to see Headache Gang CEO Shiloh. Great to see him back out there. Great to see 22 back out there as well, man. Antonio Dorn.
Yes, sir. It was, man. Happy to see those guys get healthy. Speaking of injuries, I know we lost a big fella up front, Mitch Jordan. Hopefully he's okay. We praying for him and hopefully for a speedy recovery. But definitely happy to see Shiloh make his season debut, man. It's always good when you see 2-1 back there. Such a bright personality, such a fan favorite. You know what I mean? I don't know where he ranks on the Sanders Sons, should I say kid list, but he's one of Jackson State's favorites.
Yeah, I love the physicality that Shiloh brought to the game. You got some dog in him because I mean, look who he tussled with. You're talking about Shiloh's 6'1", probably 195 pounds, and he manhandled Kamari Everett. You know what I'm saying? Manhandled.
He did that. He did. Got a penalty too, so he flipped him.
Another guy who impressed me. I hadn't seen much of him since that first game against FAMU, but Tavion Beasley, man, we're talking about a true freshman. That guy, if I didn't tell you he was a true freshman, you wouldn't know he was a true freshman.
Know it. Yeah, man.
Yeah, he's a really good pickup, man. Another one of those stars that we brought in in this freshman class of the 2022 signing class. But I'm definitely impressed. I mean, he come from a good pedigree. Was the #1 high school team in the nation. They wound up losing to the now #1 high school team. So, that's a great call out, Corey. Tavion Beasley is rock solid.
Definitely. Well, not much to talk about with this game, guys. We knew we would take care of business. I think, everybody's kind of looking ahead to Campbell, not to overlook Bethune, but we figured we would take care of business. So 6-0, first time since 1983. Though historian, whenever we bring up these historical facts, I'd like to get your opinion or your input on that.
Yeah, it's very monumental. And when you talk about the 1983 team, you talk about in the early stages of the W.C. Gordon dominating era, and you're also talking about 2 seasons before we actually go on that run of setting that conference winning streak. But again, man, we were dominating then. You're talking about a time where we won 8 titles out of 11 years, 8 SWAC championships in 11 seasons. And, safe to say when we brought on Coach Prime, we felt like with all the other sports and we're winning, and newsflash, fellas, soccer is #1 right now in the SWAC.
That's true.
And volleyball is #2 in the SWAC. And so it's a renaissance. We're in a new golden era of JSU athletics right now. And with football being at the forefront of it. And, again, we're talking about something that we've seen, all 3 of us have seen a lot of football. And the fact that we're 6-0 for the first time since I was about 5 years old. You know what I'm saying? Just think about that. It's a long time, fellas. And we've won.
And you're old, though. So, yeah, that's a long time.
No, Corey, you're not old till you free on Tuesday. So I'm a long way from that. but
hey,
yeah, man, look. That's a lot. That's a lot of history that we're breaking in now. And look, and we're steady adding on to it. So more ways to go.
Listen, I just want to say that, Corey, I wasn't the one when last time. So I've never seen Jackson State 6-0. So I'm pumped up about it, man. This is amazing This is uncharted territory for me, baby. Because like I said, I was beehive to a grasshopper last time this happened, and I didn't know that there was a J, S, or a U that existed at that time. So, man, this is monumental. This is what we wanted. Like I always said, we said 13-0, but in actuality, we really want to just go 1-0 each week. But for that big goal to get to 13-0, you can't get to 13-0 without being 6-0. So the team has definitely handled their business. I like the message that A.D. Robinson put out because Zoe touched on the program's thriving right now. He said the football team's doing their part. So we implore the fans to come out to these next two games, man. Homecoming and Southern followed up behind that. We got to pack the bet, man, to show some support for these guys. We got the undefeated best team, and, man, we got a top 10 FCS team, and then we have the #1 HBCU football program in the nation, and it's not even close. So got a lot to be proud of, man. Like you said, Corey, we handled business against Bethune-Cookman. We never had any doubt about that. No disrespect to Bethune. They dealing with a lot. Definitely, we happy they get a chance to go home, but it's on to the next one. And that's Campbell. Campbell's the next foe that we get to take down, and I'm excited about it.
And one thing too, Corey, to add on to what Ken said, look, as a fan base and as a Jackson State, fan, look, we've longed and wanted what we're getting right now. When we're not winning, we're up in uproar rather of why we aren't winning. You know what I mean? And we raised Cain, as you all know, when things aren't going the way we want them to go. Well, now we have everything tailor-made the exact way that we want it. And we're, again, a record that we hadn't seen since 1983. So with that being said, yes, I'm co-signing A.D. Ashley Robinson. We need to have all our butts in there. And he called for 50. I'm going to raise the bar. We need to supersede what we did last year. Absolutely. We need 59, 60,000 that thing on Saturday.
No doubt. And we talk about longing for what we've been wanting and, just the record and the history. Let's talk about, Ken mentioned top 10. Where are we at in the polls, though? Both polls.
Well, we're number 6 in the coaches poll, and we're number 9 in the Stats FCS poll.
Hey, that's very commendable. I mean, that we find ourselves in somewhat uncharted territory. I know in one of the previous shows you touched on just how long it's been since we've been in the top 10 as an HBCU, or any HBCU has been in the top 10 in the FCS. So we talked about that respect, being respected as a program, and it seems like coaches have taken more of a better notice than maybe the stats, whoever votes in that. But we're gonna roll with the coaches on that. We rank number 6 right now. We looking to elevate even further, man. So there was a little movement that transpired in the top 25. So hey, can we get in the top 5? So what you think?
We can.
I think we will.
I believe if we just handle business, we have a great chance, because you have to look at who's in the top 5 and they play each other. Like, for example, the new #1 team, South Dakota State, they're in the same conference. They just happen to beat North Dakota State. And those teams between the Big Sky and Missouri, well, conference play, but some tough teams that's in the top 5 that's going to play each other. So there's only so many losses you could take without dropping. So as season's in, we have a good chance to make number 5. I don't see us exceeding that, depending on what happened, but stranger things have happened too. So
definitely. All right, fellas, let's do it. Normally we don't do this on the recap shows, but it's homecoming. We got Campbell coming to town. A lot of mystery behind Campbell. Let's talk about it. What's up?
Yeah.
What's the expectations? What's the thought process? What's the worry? What's the fear? What's the confidence level against this Campbell team?
Go ahead.
Let me go first. And the reason why I want to go first, Corey, is because I have watched every game available on Campbell, except for the game that they lost versus East Carolina. They lost to William and Mary, who I feel very similar to what we do. A lot of weapons, really good stout defense. They lost that game pretty convincingly. When you talk about Campbell, they beat the Citadel, who runs a triple option offense. That team wasn't very. It was okay team. Not that good, but they wound up taking down North Carolina Central, who had a lot of momentum in the MEAC. They were 4-0 when they played them, dominated them actually, and that opened a lot of eyes. And then the last 2 games they played versus Charleston Southern, and as well as Robert Morris, both of those teams are sitting right at about 0-11. So no disrespect, you play who's on the schedule. They look pretty darn good against both of those teams. But I'm gonna just say, take the records off of it, Corey. This team is extremely good, man. They got a really good quarterback, Hodge Williams. He can spin it. He's extremely elusive and athletic. He can run. He can pass. They have a really good tight end, 2 really good running backs, decent wide receiver core.
Mm-hmm.
They got a great front 4 on the defense, really good safety on the back end, and some decent linebacker play. But I think our strengths play well into this game because at the end of the day, we run an offense that allows the quarterback hopefully to get the ball out a lot quicker, and we can apply some pressure to their DBs. And I don't think their DBs can match up with our wide receivers, honestly. The only thing I would say for our defense that we bragged on how good they are, they got to play disciplined, sound football because they do run an RPO, and if we're not disciplined, they can catch us off guard. So the offensive line, they got a pro potential defensive end coming off number 9, Brevin Allen, and we got to account for him. So they definitely gonna try to get to Shador. They got a great coach, great recruiting class, great core of guys. So hey man, this is gonna be a good football game. But in the end, I expect us to go out and do what we do. It's homecoming, and we're not losing on homecoming. I'm telling you that now. So I got Jackson State handling business, and we're gonna send Campbell back to North Carolina with another L.
Yeah, I agree. And the cosign onto that, Ken, I got to tell you, looking at what I saw from them, everything they do plays to our strengths. On offense and defense, they play to our strengths. The thing is, they want to run the ball. They want to really try to get you on play action. We're pretty much great in the secondary, but the thing is, it's almost like, and the good thing about playing them is going to actually fine-tune us for the game after them because their quarterback is their greatest asset, and they're going to run him as well as throwing the ball. So the thing is, pretty much treat like any other game and do what we do, and that is, hey, shut down the run, make them a passer, because I'm going to be honest, if their quarterback has to pass the ball to beat us, I really feel like we'll get a repeat of the previous game against Bethune-Cookman score-wise. I really feel like, seriously, it's not me, and I don't even have my blue and white glasses on when I say that. What they like to do and the way they run the ball plays to our strengths. Also, I think True Thompson is really going to show his mettle, as well as Jelani Davis in this upcoming game, as well as Devontae Davis. I think what we can do in the middle and with the depth, with K-Tron coming to this particular game, with what they like to do. And also on defense, Rouser, the 4-star safety, is an exceptional player. But the thing is, they don't move him around the field. He's stuck at safety. And what we like to do on offense, he's not going to be a great asset to what we want to do to prevent us doing what we want to do. The best thing for them, in my opinion, is for them to move him around. But he doesn't have great cornerback skills, so he's going to stay at safety. And if you notice, what we like to do, we like to do everything underneath anyway. So we're going to be fine in that aspect. I expect a really, really big game out of DJ Stevens this week. I expect DJ to get about 6 or 7 catches this particular game. I believe field goal kicking is going to be big this game. And to touch on something else, Ken, not be quiet, I don't believe that Coach Prime is going to go for it on 4th down a lot this game because this game is important. We're going to kick field goals. We're going to play solid defense. And when things are there for us to score touchdowns, we're going to get touchdowns. I do not see this Campbell team scoring 2 touchdowns on us. I really, really don't.
Well, I wouldn't go that far. I would just say that the single most important person, Corey and Zoe, in my opinion, on offense for this game is number 36, Savion Wilkerson.
Facts.
He gives us a dimension, and I know we played multiple running backs last game. Shout out to Caleb Jolivet for getting in that thing. J.D. Martin did his thing. Tito did his thing. But I'm telling you right now, Savion Wilkerson, because here's the thing about them. They have good size on the D-line. Their trenches are stout. They got the biggest offensive line in all the FCS. But this is why I didn't mention that, because I feel like our defense, because Coach Prime made a good point. When you're so big, the agility of the other teams could be a disadvantage. So we got a lot of speed coming off the edge, man. With Jeremiah Brown, Niles Gaddy, they're going to see something they ain't never seen before. And Zoe made a great point, stuff in the middle with your big boys. But in my opinion, I think Savion is going to be important because we can't allow them to make us one dimension. You know what I'm saying? So if they shut us down from a running back standpoint, then, of course, they can just basically drop. They're gonna rush forward, drop 7 anyway because they're gonna respect Shador's arm and our talented wide receiver. And I think that absolutely plays into the hands of. And every game that I've seen, fellas, when you have a good running game, it softens them up as the game goes on. You go watch that William and Mary game or the East Carolina game. Those games show that that you can soften them up in the middle. So I think Savion is our single most important. Of course, Two got to do what he do, and everybody got to do what they do. But I like Zoe's point of DJ Stevens taking those check downs. Don't hold the ball too long because he hold the ball too long in this game, he gonna get hit.
All right, well, there you have it. Like you said, man, it's homecoming. We can't lose a homecoming game, right? But this Campbell team will come ready to play. One of our toughest opponents on the season, but we expect this team to get up for this game. That's the good thing about it. You know, with homecoming and all the distractions, sometimes the team got to get caught up. But I know they're focused because they're hearing about this Campbell team, and the staff is letting them know about this Campbell team. So homecoming, the best time of the year. Great day to be a Tiger. Great week to be a Tiger. See you guys in the Jack.
Happy homecoming 2022, Tiger Nation. Love. Let's go, baby.
Yes, sir. And that'll do it for episode 279 of Tiger Talk with the 1400 Club. Thank you to all of our listeners. And again, be sure to subscribe to the podcast. Apple Podcasts and Spotify video users, rate and review the show. And everyone, go follow Tiger Talk with the 1400 Club on Facebook and Tiger Talk 1400 on Instagram and Twitter. We're looking to do some big things with this platform to aid the athletics department, and it all starts with you. Downloading, subscribing, rating, and reviewing the show, and tell every Tiger that you know. We're on all podcast outlets: Apple Podcasts, Spotify Video, Google Podcasts, YouTube, and so on. And we'll be posting each episode on our Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter pages. As always, thanks for your support. Go Tigers. Hashtag Pack the Vet. Hashtag I Believe. Hashtag The I Love.